Okay, we enter the pick and ban phase. And I'm not gonna ask for a lot here, but I will ask for a hard engage. No matter what else happens in this draft, I think both teams need to reconsider their stance on reliable, hard engage.
I think we got a quick reminder to everyone as to why maybe it's best we don't have enchanters in the last game, but still, I mean, you're looking at Hwei still up and available. The Sejuani still there. Nefiri, if people really want to get a little bit crazy with it. But I'm curious, yeah. I imagine we will just go back to bog standard support picks here.
I also think Sejuani might get first picked. I feel it. The last of the conventional tank options in a game where both teams are not doing the best, you know, like closing out. I think Sejuani does a lot of work. One-click CC, but Viktor is going to be the lock-in, is going to be the option. So another great scaling choice, good defensive option as well. Not the most proactive pick, but if someone's going to fight into you, Viktor does a very good job of punishing it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, once you get rid of things like the Azir, the Oriannas, he kind of just becomes the dominant lane bully in the mid lane, so it does make a lot of sense. I'm looking at Hwei, potentially locked in here for Isma or the Sejuani. Hard engage, perfect. Tank jungler, makes a lot of sense. And is it going to be the Ezreal then for the bottom side of the map here for Noah? I think it's the premier AD carry that's still left up and available. Especially now, you know, Varus, the Corki, Kai'Sa all taken away. Unless you want to just go Ashe and go for the Fro Yordian angle.
I like the Fro Yordian angle. More CC, more reliable ways to start fights. Again, I'm just going to repeat that one thing a lot this champ select. If you saw it last game, you'll understand why. If you didn't, you know, just roll with it. Hwei, though, certainly an option in terms of scaling. Will mash a lot of what the Viktor can provide. Also has that additional range. Can be a bit more vulnerable though. Lacks some of the Hwei's E abilities, the Sorrow abilities. Not quite as good of a defensive tool as Gravity Field in a lot of situations.
Yeah, it's a little unusual for me though, because I suppose you're basically banking on rogues taking Ezreal and then their jungler here for Malrang. Because my only worry is if you match the Hwei here, then I'm say they end up picking support on this next rotation for rogue. You then kind of end up with, oh, we have to take our support or we have to take our AD carry, and then you end up down the bottom of the barrel here, especially when it comes to AD carries. So I think GIANTX though, I imagine we'll just go for something like a Hwei here to guarantee a strong jungler from Malrang, but Malrang still likes to play like a lot of different champions, so maybe they're happy to just pinch support here.
A Malrang classic. Locked in, okay, a little J4 for Malrang. Again, throwback to a very victorious era of Rogue and a nice little combo. Both the Viktor and the J4, big fans of circles. We're gonna end up with some Venn diagrams this game. So, aggressive jungle option. J4 kind of a weird champion, but early game can be super aggressive. Might set us off for a different pace of game. And the Kai'Sa now going to be locked in. Again, good answer to the Ezreal. Later stages of the game, early on, can still be a bit weaker.
It does mean that, excuse me, sorry, on GX's side, you're pretty heavily reliant on some sort of AD top laner. So Jace is gone from the last game and Best is gone. Gnar, wouldn't be surprised to see it banned away here by Rogue just to try and force them into a bit of an uncomfortable scenario, because you've got a mixed damage coming from the Kai'Sa. We have seen like the Yuntao build and stuff there, but I imagine you're kind of looking for a little bit more poke with her. So I think you can force GIANTX into a bit of an uncomfortable situation here if you start looking for them. Jax makes some sense. He is a bit of mixed damage, but yeah, going down I would have expected something like a Gnar, maybe even a Renekton ban here, going towards a loss.
Yeah. Xante, Gnar, Renekton, the three most played for lot all time. Not surprising.
He's a top laner.
He is a top laner. Those are the top lane champions. Obviously Gwen out of the game in this one. What is the answer going to be? The Renekton banned, Jax banned as well. Adam doesn't want to risk. He will be forced to blind pick most likely. Depends on if GX just want to go for, I would guess, just a Leona.
Yeah, I mean the Leona
Rell is also, like the thing about having double chamber in game one is like, I'm not used to having so many good supports open. Nautilus was banned in game one. Maybe it gets banned here as well.
Yeah, I think Nautilus makes a lot of sense if you're on... Okay, there's the Gnar ban. So I think Nautilus actually first rotation here makes a lot of sense. Surprised to see GX ban the Renekton themselves, because I thought that would be what they were looking for. The Xante doesn't really provide a huge amount of damage, and it basically forces Noah into this Yuntao build. Okay, this like Aatrox still fits that, because my thought is poke long range with both the Hwei and the Kai'Sa, and then you're trying to not get just immediately engaged upon by the Jarvan. So at least having that option now of the AD coming through from your top laner means that you're a little bit safer. Rell makes sense here for execute as well, just great follow-up onto whoever Jarvan locks up, or if you get a big engage, you can also then have that the follow-up too, but either way, makes sense here.
If your brain stalled out when you saw Allow,
Yes.
mine did too.
Yeah. It was also just, he kind of just went through a whole bunch of different champions, and I was
All
like,
of
just,
which were
please
kinda
just
hype.
go for it. Yeah.
That'd be cool. But again, Rell, Jarvan, Viktor. Oh, I love that. Love everything about the first 4 picks for Rogue. It is stable. It is reliable. It's a similar story for GXL. They have a bit more of a focus on dive, although Hwei and Kai'Sa together can be a bit of an awkward duo. Olaf! A throwback to earlier days, earlier eras of Adam. Into the Aatrox.
Olaf also got buffed recently as well, so I was
And
kind of thinking of him.
for
He's in a
Jun.
pretty decent spot.
Poppy for Jun I also like as a potential aggressive option. We'll see if he wants to go Hail of Blades for a powerful level 1, although some of the base damages for Poppy were hit pretty hard, so I imagine it will be Aftershock. Jarvan ulti not interruptible by that Poppy W will be one of the big ones to keep our eyes on. Also, the Olaf, just the ability to go unstoppable in the face of the Poppy and the Sejuani together.
Yeah, he also got his Reckless Swing buff, so it then matches the basically his attack speed. Because one of the things that was super annoying with Olaf was as you went for the Reckless Swing, the E,
Yeah.
it would be really slow, and especially if you're on low health, it made it a little bit awkward to try and sustain your attack speed on us, but it's a kind of a nice little quality of life buff, so should do relatively okay. I can kind of see it, like you hit 6, you just run down the Aatrox on the top side, and even in team fights and that as well, it works pretty well. The only thing is making sure that Malrang doesn't lock you as the Olaf down instead of the other person, but if Olaf is in there with you, it kind of works out well.
The historical counterpick to Olaf is any form of terrain.
Yes.
Does struggle to get through. But Rogue, stability in that first 4 picks. Everything from jungle down to support looking nice, standard for the top side where they're throwing their curveballs. We get into game 2. GX weathered the storm in game 1. A 55-minute storm and managed to come out on top. Hopefully this time around they won't need quite so much time. That was their first win. And they always see they'll look to find their second and their first series win over Rogue. But Rogue, pretty powerful comp. This game I think should be much more decisive.
Yeah, I think especially the fact that there is very little to prevent Adam from doing Olaf things generally has worked out for Adam when he's played Olaf in the past. So can just chase down things like Jackie's. Noah at least still has some escape with his invisibility and also then having that killer instinct to reposition himself away from Olaf, but it's still very tough when you're a short range AD carry. So for Rogue, it may just be exactly what they did in game 2 versus Vitality, which is play up towards topside and make sure that Adam's able to get off to a nice start.
Very cautious level 1s from both teams. Kind of interesting to watch. Jarvan's early clear can be a bit rough, so sometimes you do see teams maybe try to contest him around that level 1. Won't happen here. And we're back to the calmness, the stillness of early game League of Legends. I know just 15 minutes ago we were all on the edge of our seats in that 55-minute slugfest, but this is, deep breath. This game could take us anywhere. Truly a magical journey.
A lot of the phrases you've used today just make it sound like you're advertising a Disney movie.
Yeah.
It's a magical world.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Thanks, Peter Pan.
There's a lot to unpack there with that particular statement. I don't want to say how much you'll learn from my psyche about that, but sometimes you just need positivity, and you can always turn to little Disney 1990s Disney movie promo to get it. In terms of verbiage.
Between the Mighty Ducks and Peter Pan, you've got yourself covered.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the wrong demographic, though. It's hard for me to tell.
Yeah, there's at least a dozen of us that are over 30 that are all like, I get that. And everyone else is like, well, these casters stop yapping.
True. But, in the early game, there's a lot of time to yap because there's not a whole lot happening. Larssen, gets early mid push here. Jackie's actually getting chucked out a lot. This was priority option into the Viktor. We'll see if it gets better after the first few levels. Definitely some nice trades there. The WE and then the EE. Which names I have forgotten already.
Yeah, it's more like mini rumble ult and stuff is how I categorize them rather than actually trying to remember the names. But I do like the pathing that both junglers have gone for. For Malrang, it gives him that opportunity to start to move up towards his top side and cover Adam, because this is kind of the point where he is most vulnerable before he has access to level 6, and also wants to try and play as aggressive on the wave to punish Lot or keep Lot out of the fight. Whereas on the opposite side, I think Isma, like, just trying to keep himself in a position where he can cover the bottom side in case any sort of action happens there early, because again, I think the most vulnerable people on this side are Jackies and Noah. Speaking of, Jackie's kind of also aware of it at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good call out. I think Execute in the bottom side also has to be careful. The Aftershock can do a lot to save him, but Patch with the cleanse, the additional mobility. Jun, if he ever finds that angle for a quick wall bang, quick knockback into the wall, he's able to get a lot of damage down. Sejuani's around, easy follow-up. Again, both teams going for more team fight-oriented junglers. Jarvan notorious for being able to find those early ganks, but we haven't really seen that at all from Malrang quite yet.
It's actually really interesting to see what both junglers are doing at the moment, because usually you do both Skull Crabs, you reset, come back out onto the map, right? But both of them have delayed their resets and have actually gone to clear in the opposite side. So I think the idea from Isma was, hey, I want to try and sync up with Malrang. So as the game goes on, I'm going to just become a little bit tankier, I'm going to be able to do a little bit more, and we should have a decent scaling on our side, so play to cover any sort of early plays that this Jarvan can make. Malrang, I think, spotted Isma going for that and basically delayed his own reset now. So then he actually moved back down to his bottom side, cleared his own bot jungle, and now has desynced himself again with Isma. So on the attempt in Isma meeting up with Malrang, it's now swapped once again. So it's actually been interesting to see how they've changed their pathing based on kind of what they'd expected in this early stage.
It's a good call, and the mismatch can be deadly, especially as solo laners start to approach level 6. A lot of potential burst damage and setup there. You have a jungler like the Jarvan or the Sejuani is Isma. Poking his head around the bottom side of mid lane. Larssen not concerned. Jackie's so low. Larssen not too worried about it, especially as he has the gravity field.
So I saw Isma throwing up the thumbs up. And there was a player over in the LPL that every time they walked into a bush would throw up an emote to see if the other person would emote, and then they'd know there was a ward in the bush. And I was like, that is the most brilliant mind game I've heard of from jungler.
That's the kind of stuff that I used to do in game because I was bad and I needed a way to like reclaim that I was contributing.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, you guys don't understand, I'm really good at warding and I've got all these niche tricks that can give us the edge. It's like, could you click your buttons well? No. No buttons.
Well, what about this emote button?
What about
Isn't this great?
What if I could recite Aphelios' kit to you from memory? Would that be useful?
Alright, so GIANTX going to try and strike first here, at least answer for what's happening on the top side of the map, looking at the dragon. This does make a lot of sense again. I think Malrang definitely wants to try and keep windows of opportunity for Adam to try and play through a side lane with this Olaf, and the early boy groups make sense. Also just the fact that you're a tier Nasheen versus a BF sword already on Noah means that it would be a little bit terrifying to try and fight this one out.
Yeah.
So Adam able to just clear out the wave and keep himself happy. And now I imagine we'll get the reset once more, because you kind of want to get this matchup as Adam into the Aatrox, but we'll have to see.
Probably something we keep our eyes on. Objective trade, as you highlighted, for now. See when Adam gets to start doing Olaf things. I don't feel like he's super favored in the context of 2v2. It's just so hard for him to approach, and the Kai'Sa early on just does a lot of damage in those short trades. Normally the range of something like the Ezreal is what stops her from being able to use that. Is Isma has overstayed. There's a level 6 here. He's going to Q away. He's going to flash away. Flash and first blood from Malrang.
The flash cataclysm animation is so satisfying to watch. Malrang just dunks onto Isma. Isma a bit unfortunate overstaying there, and even getting that assist to Larssen is very nice. You just start off there. Noah. No, he'll be fine. He should be able to just walk this out.
Or indeed correct. He will walk away. So Isma, despite the interview with Lore, still having an oopsie. Malrang happy to have that first kill, 400 extra gold, otherwise dead even in the matchup outside of that kill. Is Noah chunked out. It's going to be an awkward reset here. As Noah starts to push this wave in. Excuse me, Patrik starts to push the wave in. Patrik did have a pretty good Ezreal game. last week? Or was it day one? It all blurs together.
Yeah.
You might remember it from the team fight where Jack Spectre just said Patrik 7 times in a row.
The good old days.
The good old, simpler time.
Yeah.
Mayhaps.
You brought up Jack Spectre twice, though. Am I supposed to feel like
No, it's just
self-conscious about casting with you again? You know, we cast all
Yeah.
together last year, and now it's like,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm sorry, Rob. I'm using a psychological technique known as nagging. I just really want you to like me. It's my bad. I shouldn't be bringing up other casters. We're all on the desk together. That's poor form. That's rude of me. I've missed casting with you too.
It's okay. I'll go talk to Hysterics. It's fine.
No, don't do that. Don't bring Jake in here. We agreed. Only if the game goes to 45 minutes, then we will quadcast.
Okay, yeah.
That is what we decided. Of course, we have no approval for that, but now that I've said it live,
Yeah, I was gonna say that was
applied invisible pressure.
Is that nagging as well, or does
I
it
don't
work?
know, man. That's such a horrible concept. I don't want to double back on that one. That is not how I want to be perceived. Malrang, unperceived with his brush, waiting for an opportunity to go onto Jackie's. Doesn't have flash.
Oh,
Malrang, ulti ready, blocks up Jackie's. The ulti goes through the wall. Jackie's in trouble. Caught the pin, and Patrik takes him down. 3 ultis combined to take Jackie's out of the equation, and things starting to look pretty good for Rogue. 2 kills already, picked up for basically free.
yeah. Power Rangers looking good on Rogue side, managing to combine everything to get that kill down. And again, like we were talking about Malrang, Jarvan is incredibly strong in these early stages, and Malrang has always been someone who loved to gank. Now getting the work done as nice sidestep from Larssen. Plus
Isma cannot finish the kill.
No flash available.
That's a tilt. Yeah. That's frustrating. So close to getting that kill. So far, Malrang 100% kill participation. Isma has not been able to find a kill yet for his team. Maybe it's easier once Noah has that first item, but a rough early game thus far for GX.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that, like, obviously Larssen has gotten the 2 assists, which is nice, but that kill actually going to Patrik helped out massively in just keeping him now in a position where you can try and outpace this Kai'Sa, because traditionally the Kai'Sa wants to look for the level 6 breakpoint.
Jackie's might just die again. Flag, drag, Rell coming over the wall. Jackie's ignited. He doesn't have a flash this time around, but Isma now trying to body block. Extra healing coming in. They managed to save him. Jun with the knockup, the ball through, the stun over the wall. Now the severing bolt. Jackie's gets one back. Oh, excellent play from support jungle to save Jackie's in what could have been a disastrous situation.
Yeah, if he'd gone down again, that would have been, you know, an absolute disaster for GIANTX, but they're not in a bad spot now. They've actually managed to turn that around, keep themselves in a position where I thought maybe they'd try and continue up towards these void grubs here, but Rogue might just be able to get all of them as GX looking for a reset to try and move over towards the dragon on the bottom side. But yeah, Jackie's doesn't realize the ward is there, execute with the stun and the follow-up, but it's a jungler and a support. The damage isn't just quite there yet, with Isma coming over the wall and then execute getting stunned too. There's just 0 follow-up, and Jackie's great severing bolt just as he disappears to set that one up.
Excellently played. Extra little tiny bit of shielding from the pool of reflection. Well piloted by Jackie's, making the most of those abilities as Adam gets hit by the chains. We call canceled. Unfortunate for the top laners. I feel like they were the center of our attention in game 1. Talked so much about the Gwen. And despite the fact that both these top laners are interesting, they just don't really matter right now, Rob. Just hanging out, farming, waiting for those first item spikes.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my eyes on what Jun is up to, because Dragon is now up and available, and he's managed to get a ton of deep vision onto the bottom side. And Dragon going to be taken, so it may actually be the action towards this top half.
Malrang. Connection there from Lot, flag a drag forward, but extra damage. Lot probably dead, will be forced to flash, at the very least. Cataclysm to follow, Execute getting pulled backwards. Malrang just barely not out of tower range. Jun now falling up, another severing bolt, but they're grouped up this time, so they deny the extra damage. In the meantime, the Drake will fall, so 6 grubs to 2 Drakes. Malrang is forced to flash from the severing bolt.
But it does mean that Rogue don't really get anything on this top side. They moved 4 members up here, but they don't get the towers, they don't really get the plates, and they don't get the kill on towards Lot, as he was able to just heal through everything with the World Ender. So for Rogue, unfortunate. Whereas for GIANTX, they get the Dragon, they're now in a position that they can actually push out a bot side, cover this top play, though they may have to cover it again as Jackie's doesn't have flash yet, and there's still members sticking around. Looks like they will go for the reset though.
Are they gonna stay? oh, the temptation to just fish for another play. Jackie's flash is just about 30 seconds to a minute away. Similar story for Larssen. His a bit further out, so maybe a window that can be played around. In the bottom lane, it's a farm battle. Adam happy to try and freeze this wave as best he can, knowing that in the all-out fight, probably wins.
This is given opportunity though for GIANTX to push, well, not so much push mid, but at least move up towards this top side and look for turf plates for Hwei. They can. I thought Jun might be running the Hex Flash because you can see he's warded there. Basically look for Larssen as he comes back in and see if he can flash over the wall, but not there. Sejuani's reset as well, so we'll just be Hwei picking up a plate and then dipping out again.
What's that last auto? Or will he be picking up a plate?
No.
Just a little bit off. Jun now moving up. Execute on the way in. Supportal combat, the theme of this game. Shattering Strike missing completely. On the mid lane, Patrik and Malrang grouped. Noah gonna have a hard time approaching here. This is where that 6 grub really starts to pay off, but Isma still fishing for an angle to ulti. Patrik still with cleanse and flash, means there's really not a lot to be had here. Patrik happy to just grab 2 plates pretty quickly.
Yeah, I do like how Execute's playing this moment though. He's moving into the top side jungle to just keep vision on, hey, is Jun coming through? Where's Isma? Like, make sure that you've got an escape route that's there. And this was something that he did really well against Vitality too, when he was on these more engage-oriented picks up, moving around the map, kind of playing to shadow a lot of the lanes as they're pushing through and making sure they're safe. Even here now you can see covering for Larssen as that wave is crashing in the top side.
Good to have the cover. Jackie's just continuing to pick up waves. Rod of Ages build for Larssen. Don't mind it. This is a game where having that additional bit of tankiness can go a long way, especially when you're going to have someone like Noah diving face first into you. Execute looks like he's been caught. Noah to follow. Execute ulting, gets the aftershock off, interrupted by the steadfast presence. Meanwhile, Malrang taking wolves, and a nice pick on to Execute. Jun doing a lot of work this game. Execute struggling to match that pressure as Patrik now trying to make a difference in the mid lane, knowing that Noah has no ultimate.
Yeah, it could actually move up towards the top side though. They did lose a man, but Rogue still have to cover just with the push that they have in mid. And actually, Noah starting to lean up towards that top side, didn't feel comfortable to stick around in mid, so with Adam moving towards the mid lane, I think Rogue making a move on the mid lane tower.
Isma might try to cover, but Adam is here as well. Isma has to be very careful about not stepping too far up. You can see immediate dash out using the Arctic Assault to escape. First tower will fall. A bit unceremonious.
Nice, but it was a nice roam from Adam. He'd already pushed in bot side, and Patrik had already gotten that advantage with a nice trade, so it's kind of coming back off the individual plays from Rogue, and Adam, even back when he was on BDS, was kind of known for these nice roam timings where he'd try and play towards mid. It usually happened a bit earlier in the game, but this was just a good moment to make that play.
Yeah. Historically was a lot more about the self-sacrifice, and this time just using a bit of lane pressure, not giving up much of anything to show up to help secure that objective is Jun. Cannot currently see Patrik. Just continues to farm. First item now completed for Lot. We'll see if GX are able to find a fight on their terms. A lot of good dive threat on this team, but neither side is really grouped up quite yet. Next objective will be feats. Next kill will be feats for either side. Rogue so far 1 up, so a kill or an objective will secure them the boot upgrade.
Isma? Yeah, I was about to say, you're in a bit of an awkward position, buddy, so we'll end up moving out of that. Doesn't mean Rogue get the opportunity to clear out all this vision that has been set up by GX towards this Rift Herald. And it kind of comes back to, well, we got push on mid wave and have your mid lane tower down. So I think for Rogue, they could actually just play to help support Patrik and pushing it in, but they're going to start up this objective, and GIANTX have already reset, so they're not even going to be here to contest.
But for Rogue to have it, extra prio, especially when they've already broken mid lane. It's going to be so easy to knock down these side lane towers, maybe even push for a tier 2. We'll have multiple pressure points on the map. 21 seconds till that objective spawns, but this Herald falling does mean objective feat. Boot upgrade to the side of Rogue.
Larssen's had to back away from bot lane turret though, as they're kind of expecting Isma to make some sort of play towards him with Dragon up and available. So Rogue kind of spending their turn on top side. Now trying to brute force their way in onto the bottom side to answer. But I think this should be a GIANTX objective.
Not too bad to distract Drakes. Again, maybe not ideal that it's chem tech, but for an Aatrox, it definitely will feel good. As it will for the Kai'Sa. GX first setup. Don't really have a way to match mid-prio right now, however, so might have to concede a wave to start this objective.
Yeah, I thought they'd either commit to the dive onto Larssen bot lane or starting up Dragon, but with GIANTX not really committing to anything, they're now just stuck in this limbo of, well, we're not getting the spot push, we've lost out a mid push, and now it's Rogue who actually gets to set up the objective. Loss, going to keep pushing on top, so I think GIANTX is going to trade, but Larssen calls.
Larssen, fourth mark now coming through. That's the stun. Nice timing on the flash to make it out. I believe he does have the Merc Tread to stay a little bit healthier. Rod of Ages as well. That additional HP keeping him healthy, keeping him standing. Chemcheck Drake down. Adam. Malrang, Patrik on the chase, debating if they want to continue with this one. TP down from GX. Adam, defensive ult now just to run this one out. Rogue, good call to just retreat. Recognize the TP is coming in and have backed off, but Adam now in trouble. Spiraling Despair is there. Severing Bolt gonna connect. Kill finish now from Jackie's. Execute running. Huge damage falling from Lot. Malrang trying to turn it back. It's Patrik and Malrang versus the world, but Jun wants to get this kill locked down. No one able to finish off Lot. Malrang getting lower and lower the flag and drag through, but not quite hitting the priority target as the target falls. Jun, another knockback into the wall, another Severing Bolt and a shutdown to Lot.
It's a huge swing for GIANTX. Rogue tried to have their cake and eat it too. They'd gotten the Rift, or the Void Grub playing topside. They got the Dragon, but wanted to get bot lane on top of all of that. And with the overextension from Adam, it just pulls everyone on Rogue in, and GIANTX pounce.
It's a good look. Again, close circumstance. Rogue recognized that they need to get out when they see the TP, but great timing from Isma.
Yeah, unfortunately though, the ult from Adam was too late. Isma had already gotten the CC down, so then he ends up being forced away. Both the support and jungle from Rogue try to move in to help, try at all to help out in this situation, but that completely fails. And then you end up separated again when Malrang stuck underneath the tower. Larssen had already gone down, so he was only making his way in towards mid lane. So you don't get anyone, and it's a ton of kills going over towards GIANTX.
Difficult fight. And again, you have to be careful against the Sejuani, Aatrox, that front line, the resets in a fight, the Poppy as well. Once they find that first kill, very easy to run you down. And Noah's only getting stronger as this game goes on, though Patrik is about to hit that nice 2-item spike once the Muramana ticks over. Still super close. GX with the gold lead. Rogue at the very least stop the dragon stacking. There's also some standing gold that GX can pick up if they can ever knock down that mid lane tower. Rogue gonna grab some back for themselves. So again, Dagda, we are in a very, very close game.
Yeah, I think as long as Rogue actually continue to play it a little bit patient, similar to the last game, they're in a decent spot. But it is these over forces that we saw in the last game that kind of brought GIANTX back into it. We're starting to see it creep in this game as well. This
like,
is a little bit of an over force, yeah, a little bit.
But they have vision control. It's voracious. So again, if they can sneak this, the bonus to objectives would be big. But instead they're going to back off.
I feel like they're trying to fake Larssen TPing into this fight, but like, you're not really at your breakpoints. In fact, I think Jackie's is resetting for his second item, first person in the map to pick it up apart from Patrik, but yeah, you can see it there. So I don't think you're in a position to match the firepower from Rogue, or sorry, from GIANTX right now. So they do have to back away, and you didn't really get anything for it. You kind of just wasted time, to be perfectly honest. Like, I much would have rather seen Rogue reset, try and move mid, and then you can always threaten the top tier 1 with the push that Larssen now has, or you could even just open up with the Rift Tower to take the tier 2 mid. But Rogue, a little hyper fixated, it feels like, on this bottom side of the map.
Yeah. Wanted to gamble, wanted to flip the coin.
Yeah. Hey, look, you can flip a coin anytime you want, and it feels like that's what Rogue's thinking is.
I mean, it costs them a little bit, but ultimately, if no one shows up from GX, you get Otacon. So, lost out on a little bit of pressure elsewhere on the map. So far, hasn't hurt them too badly, although it looks like they want to try again, as I'm not sure if they spotted Noah, but he is moving into topside. It's going to take him some time. He will finally return to mid lane. Execute trying to lay down a bit more defensive vision.
Yeah, I don't fully see why they aren't just using the fact that this Ezreal is in a decent spot to push out mid and then try and shift in towards a side lane and like help set up vision, because at the moment they're just kind of slowly losing the vision control at River. They haven't really got anything. Riptown is now doing its red buff impression as Malrang throws that one down. Yeah, you don't really get anything for a Rogue off of the sequence of plays that they got.
Oh, it's really awkward because the goal difference could have been made up for a little bit if you had been able to crash a Herald. Maybe topside is the last standing tier 1. Now instead it's just going to be a big creep, which if Adam wants to make an incredibly psycho play, he could mount up, go face first into Jackie's and try to Olaf ult him. He does not, however, so instead it'll be Jackie's very slowly taking down this Rift Herald.
Yeah, these are the kind of moments where
It's bad.
It's just
yeah. You have this thing. You have 4 minutes to use it. You really got to plan around using it.
Yeah, but it's also the Rogue at times feel like they've, say against Vitality game 2, felt like they kind of understood how they want to play the map. Now they just look like they have no clue, and GIANTX are capitalizing.
Now they might be caught. Execute trying to find a way out. Interrupt on the crash down. Severing Bolt pre-prediction or aimed at Larssen. Not clear, but they managed to find the kill as Patrik does good damage. Isma healing up though. Chemtech Rip, that extra shielding, extra healing. So quick, easy pick on the Execute. And now GX can just start the Drake. TP up topside. They're just going to concede this.
Yeah, Larssen, but I don't like this from Larssen. You are the sole member of your team with teleport.
Also,
and now you've just gone to get away.
They just go Autocon?
Yeah, they just go Autocon. That's what I was going to say, yeah. This is...
GX are the better gamblers. That's the thing that we've learned. These boys know their Kenny Rogers. They know when to hold them. They know when to fold them.
Their Balatro scores are through the roof.
Their Balatro scores are through the roof. They got blue chips. They got red chips. Patrik and Malrang at least got this tower. So 2 towers traded in the end. It's not too bad. But it is Autocon. Oh, I thought it was Ravenous. Okay, it's Voracious. That's actually not as bad. I thought it was...
It is still with 3 dragons, though.
Which Autocon do I think it was?
It's Ravenous, so it's the...
Yeah, it's False Light. No, it's False Light. Look at the buff. It's False Light.
Oh, you're right.
The icon was the wrong color, I think, and that's what threw us both off.
Yeah.
We thought it was Ravenous. Sorry. Ravenous Hydra's the name of an item. Voracious and Ruinous.
Yes. Ruinous, yes, that's what it was. Yes.
Every day of my life, I wake up and think about that. We have too many words for hungry.
Yeah.
Very hungry Autocon. It's very hungry Autocon. So False Life buff. GX can play like complete psychos in the next fight if they want to. But
can we rename them Starvin Marvin?
Just Starvin Marvin. They got the Starvin Marvin buff.
Yeah, there we go.
Now I'm backing away. Again, I think the best use we've seen of this is to force a fight, but it can be dangerous. They just start the Baron here. It is up in 15 seconds. Patrik using ulti for vision, but Jackie still has Pry on the bottom side. Jun there to cover. Things looking really good for GX right now. Their gold lead shrank a little bit in that last sequence of play, but with the False Life, if they can secure Baron, they're in a very commanding position.
Yeah, and also you don't really have someone that can really face check these. Like, you look at Jarvan, sure, but he's also gone for Sterix, Sundered Sky. He is not very tanky if you want someone to do that. And look at, like, yes, you've got members of GX on Baron, but there's a lot more members that are in the jungle right now.
Shattering Strike missing. Snare connecting. Execute getting chipped out before he can even arrive. Steadfast Presence is gone, though, so potentially a brief window of opportunity. Again, you're only fighting for False Lives here, trying to take Jun out of the equation. 5K, objective leash, fight off to the side as well. Adam now trying to get the hell out. Spiraling Despair going down. Adam just barely able to sneak away. 4K on the objective. What is the call? Flag and drag out. Execute now going in. Patrik untouched. Keep your eyes on the Ezreal. He has to make the difference. One member going to be sent packing. Noah finally withdrawing. GX, the objective resetting. Ulti across the top. So the recall's coming out in exchange for the life of Execute, but crucially for the side of Rogue, GX do not get the Baron.
Also, Malrang flashing Jun's, not Steadfast Presence, the ultimate, means that he's able to stay in the fight, because otherwise that could have been a complete disaster for Rogue, but in a position now where they're actually able to continue fighting and pick up a little bit of a win, getting some of those resets.
And now Patrik's 3 items. Again, he, I think, is the power point we have to watch. It won't remain that way for long because Noah is working towards that Infinity Edge.
But yeah, as we start to come into this, keep your eyes on Malrang. So GIANTX started up. Jun gets a good Steadfast Presence to stop the engage from Malrang here. But as it goes forward, you've got the ultimate from Poppy winding up, and Malrang flashes away from us at the last second. So he's actually able to engage. And then on the top side, Olaf find a lot of time here as the rest of the team is able to slowly but surely work through. Like, you do end up losing Execute in some members, but we're back on Baron.
Rogue full committal. They see Lot on the bottom side of the map. Maybe they're hoping to get that TP out. Jackie's waiting over the wall. Does see them with the Scryers. Ward behind. Rogue have to turn onto one side. It looks like the answer is to go face first into Jackie's, hoping to find that fight. They're caught between a rock and a hard place here. 4K getting lower. Patrik in the midst of the pit, likely just to fall. The Ezreal, the strongest point on the map, deleted in an instant. Rogue have fumbled. It's on Adam to try and turn the fight, but the lifesteal, his ability to rampage through this one, it's not enough. Double kill coming in for Noah. Rogue collapsing in this Baron exchange.
Rogue have bitten off a bit more than they can chew, and in the last game may have just tired themselves out as GIANTX are making better decisions consistently. And now they will find themselves with the Baron.
Flipped a few too many coins this game, took a few too many bold risks, didn't respect the TP flank because he was just being herded in here.
Yeah, lost how to get into a great position. Malrang tries to get on towards Jackie's, who completely shuts him down. And there's no real threat on towards a lot of these carries. You can see there Adam's trying to, but he's sole carry in the back line. And GIANTX ripped through Rogue. And now may just be able to pick up with that. It feels like their first win of Spring Split.
It's a 7K gold lead.
Yeah.
This, okay.
No.
Keeping it? No. I have to say it. Even if it's obvious to everyone, this game belongs to GX now. Rogue should not really have a good way to come back in. Maybe the death cap for Larssen, maybe a misstep from GX, but 3.1K gold lead mid lane. Despite the early success Rogue had in trying to shut Jackie's down, the siege now starting. There should be no way.
Especially because they didn't actually burn the flashes on Jackie's or Noah, right? Well, sorry, Noah's is about to come back up, but it means that if you go for a fight, you just don't really have a prime target to go for either. So now you get the full value out of this Baron buff, and you can already see the Red Bull Baron power play, 4,000 gold in GIANTX's favor.
You also have the arm guard for Jackie's, so that much more defensive utility. And Noah with healing reduction and armor penetration starting to come through. The threat of the Olaf, the effectiveness of the Sundered Sky on Jarvan heavily diminished. So GX going to grab Soul as well. Bounties have now spawned for the side of Rogue. I don't know if they're going to get a chance to get them.
Ooh, Noah.
Larssen just getting one pop there. Knock back into the wall. Execute now needs to make his way out. Larssen trying to hold on as long as possible. The pop from the ulti, not quite enough to finish him. The extra shielding coming in, but Larssen will eventually go down. Flash you're talking about.
Eviscerated where they stood. Rogue try to enter a part of the map that doesn't belong to them in GIANTX. They're happy to take those kills. Waves not even in a position to really do anything, so GIANTX kind of standing there, staring at Rogue, knowing they're about to break open their home.
And credit to GX, holding on in that last game, weathering the storm, coming in stronger in this game too, setting themselves up for success, finding these angles, these fights, and now these immense individual leads. Much more dominant performance. I don't want to say it's a draft diff, but this draft does feel better for GX, I would say, compared to game one.
Yeah, big time. You having engage, ease of access to different folks, it's a good old time for GIANTX.
All right, Rogue. I don't know if there's a rabbit in that hat, but you need to pull something out of it. Rogue holding the line, but likely the inhibitor's still going to fall.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like they just keep pulling more handkerchiefs out of the hat, and it's not really getting anywhere.
Malrang finding two, but Noah ready to go with an ultimate. Viktor ulti on top, but Noah still has the shielding from the ulti, and Lot is off to the side. Execute manages the fancy footwork around one. Adam still in the midst of the team, but Noah does so much damage. Three-man lock is coming in for the crushing maw. Jackie's finally active in the fight. Isma grabbing that kill onto Larssen, but it's all eyes on Patrik. Can he make the difference? GX whittling away slowly but surely. Mid and jungle already dead for the side of Rogue. Surely this is the end. Patrik doesn't even have enough mana to kill all 5 members. On his way out, GX focus on the objective. Patrik straying too far forward, forced to flash. Not enough mana left. Lot on a killing spree. Adam taken out as well. GX, 55-minute game 1, but in game 2 they find redemption, and now they're playing with their food. It's a whole hell of a lot of confidence. GX will close this out 2-0. One last steadfast presence, one last kill onto Malrang, and they will take this game, their first series win in LEC Spring.
And a big win at that, especially after last week losing 2-0 to Vitality. GIANTX needed every win that they could against people that are fighting for their steps in towards playoffs. And now with the win against Rogue, with SK next to follow, it's a few confident wins that they could put on the board if they can keep this up.
Very true. MCOI Team Heretics right around the corner.